Okay, is that better? Can y'all hear that? Hopefully, maybe, maybe, possibly, or is it just beeping again? You hear music still? What the hell? You might have started late. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, well, if y'all can hear me, okay, great. Awesome. So we're going to talk about a few things tonight, and this is one I was going to put toward the end, but put it toward the beginning because I think this one's really important. I will be doing a video for this on TikTok, and I hope that you guys will share it. This is a really sad story. This story is one of those that make sure that you need to remind your children about internet safety. And we need to do what we can to try to find this child before something terrible happens to her, assuming it hasn't already. So I had a lot of people asking about this during the live. I looked it up and it's really quite terrible. So um, this is a photo. Let me see if I can scroll it so you can see it her a little bit better. There we go. That is Ella Jones right there. And by the way, we will talk about this. I'll take questions after we talk about the story before we move on to the next. She is 14 years old. Okay. As you can see, she is from Mount Vernon and she has been missing since January 6th. It appears that she voluntarily left her home, and her last contact with family and friends was on the morning of January 6th, or possibly the previous evening. Ella is 5'5", approximately 135, brown hair, brown eyes. She's believed to have been wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, so a hoodie, multicolored plaid pajama pants, and black Nike Air Force shoes when she left. She's also suspected to have taken additional clothing and a large green backpack with her. So here's kind of what's going on with this. Apparently, the evening before her disappearance, she was laying in bed with her mom. Everything seemed totally normal. And when her mom woke up the next morning, she made breakfast. And it turned out that when she went to go look for Ella, Ella was not there. And that some of the things that she owned, some of her possessions, had been taken with her. Ella's mother, Sarah Merrill, believes that her daughter was speaking to somebody over social media, an adult male in his 20s, late 20s to 30s. And friends of Ella also told her mom that they had seen her speaking to an adult male on video on their computer. According to the mom, Ella reportedly met an adult male on the social media platform Omegle, which gained popularity with teens, by the way, during COVID-19. So if your kids have that, make sure to talk to them. The site, it did shut down in November. I didn't read ahead enough on that. But shut down in November, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And I guess that's probably why. So the mom has been actively involved in search efforts, posting flyers around the Pioneer Square area and Capitol Hill area of Seattle. Social media users have rallied around the family, sharing online flyers and trying to provide support, videos, etc. The mom has expressed concern about her daughter's well-being, emphasizing that Ella has very distinct dimples and may have been wearing a maroon puffer jacket, despite finding a note. Which, by the way, she did find a note that said, with Ella basically saying that she loved them and that she did not want to hurt the family. She does believe that this was not a mental health crisis, but potentially a grooming situation, which I would tend to agree with everything that I've read that that's probably the case, where Ella was basically influenced by an older man. Mount Vernon Police Department is in communication with the mom and investigating her disappearance, the girl's disappearance. And again, like I'm saying on this thing too, the police are encouraging parents to tighten. If you have teens, tweens, kids in that age group, tighten their privacy settings, especially on apps that enable location settings. Advise your teens to trust their instincts and inform parents or trusted adults if something is wrong. So this girl is missing. She's been missing since the 6th. Her news story is basically just kind of breaking recently, and we're now on the 22nd. So we need to do everything that we can to do it. So if somebody is seeing basically too, if they're coming in and they're seeing the picture of music still, they could be at the very beginning. The nice thing about YouTube, or the interesting thing about YouTube, is that you can pop in at the beginning and start at the beginning, and we could be 10 minutes into this, which would possibly be the case in this situation. So anyway, somebody says they're not used to being this small. I can fix that for you. Bam. There we go. We can do both. We can have both. So let me go back and look at your questions. You guys have any questions on this one before we move on to the next story? This one's a terrible one. Yeah, guys, this is a 14-year-old girl grooming situation online. Any questions that y'all have on this? I mean, we definitely need to find her. I will do a video. When I do the video, please do everything you can to interact with it. Like, comment, save. If you don't follow, just whatever you can do so we can try to find this girl. Any questions, though, before I move on to the next thing? All right, you gotta type quickly or forever hold your peace. Very sad, MB. All right, we'll move on then. So this is the next story. All right, let's move up here. Let's talk about the Kansas City 3. This has been one that a lot of y'all have been following. I've been following. This is just a weird situation. In the event that somebody's watching this or y'all are watching this, and you're not aware of this, I'll just give you a real quick recap on this story. So, 3 friends went over to another friend's house to watch the Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers game, and the 3 of them never came home. They ended up being found basically in the backyard, dead, frozen to death. The person who was renting the house is, what I have learned since my initial videos on it, is apparently a gifted chemist. He also was apparently not answering texts, phone calls, or the door until police came knocking. Then he claims that he knew nothing about it. It's just a very mysterious situation. Police went ahead and said that there was no foul play and are treating it as a death investigation as opposed to a homicide. So the 3 bodies were found in the backyard of Jordan Willis, and this was at a Northland home in Kansas City, Missouri. The deceased were identified as Clayton McGinney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington. Now, the attorney made a statement today, Jordan's attorney, because he did get one, which is smart. His attorney statement said that Jordan denies any involvement in the death. Willis claims that he had no knowledge of the timing, manner, or exit of the deceased from his house, and asserts that had he known about the situation, he would have called for help. The legal response for this was saying to set the record straight and address any speculations that were out there. Jordan Willis did cooperate with police and allowed them to search his home. Now, again, his friends were dead in the backyard. The cars were parked out front. It's a very strange, in my opinion, situation. It's a strange situation, and I'm very interested to see what the toxicology reports end up saying. Now, as I'm sure you can appreciate, because of how strange this case is, it has gained and garnered attention on social media platforms, especially TikTok, with people talking about it, amateur sleuths, offering opinions, speculation around the death. But police are waiting the results of the autopsy and toxicology reports. And you guys know how I feel about offering speculations without having all the information. It's not something that I support. It's not something that I do. I will give you all my opinions, if you guys ask for it, but I won't speculate in videos or on lives solely for the fact that, we don't want to incriminate something that's not true, just make things up with very limited knowledge. That's just, be cautious when you're hearing that. The families are obviously shocked, confused, and devastated. And they find the situation strange because it's strange. Police are waiting for the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death before they take any next steps. And like I said earlier, investigators currently believe that foul play is not likely involved in these deaths. Jordan Willis is claiming ignorance about how his friends died and is eagerly awaiting the autopsy and toxicology reports as well. And Willis explains why he did not respond to family members, citing that the use of earbuds and a loud fan during sleep. So, I mean, I guess he doesn't have, a phone that shows who called, texted, etc. But whatever. What do I know? Because it took 2 days for the girlfriend, after not hearing anything, to break into the house and ended up finding the bodies in the backyard when she did. So, Willis did not receive calls or texts from family or friends before being contacted by the police, allegedly. And he claims he was unaware of any attempts to reach him, including a Facebook message from one of the deceased wives. So for this one, let's go to questions on this. And you guys have a lot of comments on this one, so let's take a look here. So Tammy asked, didn't the homeowner move? So I believe he was a renter, and yes, my understanding is he did move. What is COD, cause of death? Let me take a look here. Okay. It's a fishy story. Something's not correct in that situation. Weird circumstances. Debbie asked, really, he never saw their cars out front. Yeah, I think that's kind of weird. I don't know if they all came in 3 separate cars or 2 separate cars, but regardless, there were other vehicles out there. I mean, I know that we've had a lot of snow, wind, cold, etc., but to not even look out your window, I don't know. Why did one of the fiancés of the male? They did not wait until Tuesday, Mackenzie. Great question. They did not wait until Tuesday to reach out. they kept trying to reach out, and when they got no response, they finally got fed up and went over there. I was not aware that he left his dog over at the parents, Debbie. I'll have to look into that. As Misty says, the math ain't mathing on this one. I would agree. Wouldn't he have been hanging out with his friends? The only thing that I can kind of figure on this one is that maybe he had left or told his friends that his friends told him that he was leaving, and that could have been the only reason why they didn't know. But exiting out the back door, going to the backyard is a little strange. And freezing to death out in the backyard when you could have knocked on your friend's door, gone to a neighbor's house, or gone into your car. There's a million things that are just kind of strange about this. The story makes sense if it had only been a few hours, but 3 days. Exactly. Gift to chemist equals fentanyl to me. Possibly. They don't know what the cause of death is. Not yet. Not my understanding is not yet. They're waiting on reports from toxicology and the autopsy to come back. Your brother's in Kansas City says there's breaking news on their news station tonight at 10 p.m. Well, that's now. So we can take a look. I'll take a look as we get more into this live as we're talking about things. And if there's an update before we get off here, we'll definitely talk about it. I always wait till my friends to get in the car and drive away, make sure it cranks, etc. Make it make sense. Well, so for that, I can kind of play devil's advocate on this one. As a guy, most guy friends aren't going to do that. I understand that with women, you kind of have to. It's a safety thing. You want to make sure everybody gets to where they need to be and that they're not, being harassed or assaulted or anything like that. Does the house have a fence in the back? I think it does from the picture, but somebody can probably verify that for me. I'm not 100% sure. And they're saying that there's another person involved. Interesting. Okay. Baby, if you have a link to something like that before we get off here, please drop it and I will pull it up and we'll talk about it. So with that, let's go on to this one. This next story is we're going to have a couple Colorado stories today, man. I don't know what's going on in Colorado, but it is some strange ass stuff going on in Colorado. I did a story the other day on Colorado about a security guard walking around with a severed hand in his pocket after they found a decapitated body. We have this one, and then we have another Colorado story tonight. So whatever's going on in y'all state, you guys, if you're in there, you guys need to figure out your state. So basically, Colorado newspaper copies were stolen from the stands and this is a small town, Colorado town. On the same day, a rape report was released. So almost all the copies of the Ouray County Plain Dealer, which is a small town Colorado newspaper, were stolen from racks in Ridgway, Colorado. And this theft occurred on the same day. The paper published a story about reported sexual assault at the local police chief's house during an underage party in May of 2023. The owner and publisher of the publication expressed determination to uncover the culprits, emphasizing the successful attempt to silence or intimidate the newspaper. All right. So I want you guys to make sure you heard that right. This rape happened at the police chief's house at an underage party. Okay. So I'm just saying, and then all of a sudden these papers disappear. Nevertheless, the Ouray County Sheriff's Office revealed that a man named Paul Choate, who was 41, was cited for stealing over 200 copies of this paper. It's claimed that he returned the newspaper to the publisher with an apology admitting the theft. The Sheriff's Office is also claiming that Choate is not affiliated with the local law enforcement or the defendants in the sexual assault case. So he just randomly stole these on the same day. Okay, I'm buying that. It was a front page report in the stolen newspaper, and what it did was it detailed the sexual assault allegations made by a 17-year-old. The victim accused Chief Wood's stepson and 2 others of raping her multiple times during a party at the chief's house. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation is investigating the allegations, leading to the arrest of 3 individuals, including Gabriel Truella, who's 20, and Ashton Whittington, who's 18. And the third one can't be named because he's a minor. And so the CBI sealed those arrest warrants. But the Plain Dealer chose to name the chief's stepson due to the severity of the allegations. The victim described drug use, drinking, and multiple rapes during the party. The chief did not respond for any type of comment on both the newspaper or the sexual assault allegations. Now, we will stop here to have a conversation. And what part of Colorado? Somebody asked. It was Ridgway, Colorado, small town. I'm not really sure what the Colorado like landscape or geography is. So it's always a cop's kid, I swear. Yep. It's weird because unless he's just a sick, why would he get out of that? I don't know. Where was the chief? I guess not at the party. or he's not admitting where he was. I would imagine they wouldn't be throwing the party with the parents there. Maybe the parent was out of town. Maybe he was working, whatever the case is. But being the chief's kid, I'm quite sure police weren't called on him or whatever the case is. Small town politics, indeed. I agree, as that was said. I find the story suspicious. You know, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. For the fact that all of these got, all of a sudden they made an arrest. The guy apologized, probably not going to get in trouble. Seems to me like somebody might have been put up with it. And of course, he's not going to be affiliated with the allegations or the police department because they would have to get a third party so it doesn't make a connection. So, I mean, I'm not throwing any accusations out there or theories or speculations. I'm just saying it sounds a little improbable to me. And that's what it sounds like to me, that they didn't want this out there. Well, now, because of this story, and I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this journey for them, that now the entire country knows about it. And I will be making a video of this. Well, there's that also, because you know what? Let's blow this shit up. Although TikTok likes to suppress my shit, so we'll see where it goes. So moving on to the next story, guys, we have this one is something else. Okay. So Florida dentist was convicted of having his brother-in-law killed, a murder for hire plot. And then his mother was charged for the plot days basically after his conviction. So here's a background on this. And my aunt who lives in Tallahassee, Florida, has been telling me about this thing for the last few years, this entire situation. But basically, Charlie Adelson, who is a South Florida periodontist, was convicted of first-degree murder, solicitation, and conspiracy in the killing of his former brother-in-law, Daniel Markle, who was a Florida State University law professor. Markle was gunned down in 2014 in a murder-for-hire plot over a custody dispute. Now, Donna Adelson, who is Charlie's mother, was arrested at Miami International Airport days after her son's conviction. She had a one-way ticket to Vietnam, which is a country who has no extradition treaty with the U.S. You get that? It's a little suspicious, right? One-way ticket to Vietnam. Donna's lawyer has rejected the notion that she intended to permanently flee, describing her as absolutely innocent of first-degree murder and other crimes. And her lawyer portrayed her as a distraught parent furious with the justice system over her son's conviction. He argued that Donna hadn't done anything wrong when booking the ticket and was a free citizen. So there you go. She was doing nothing wrong. She was totally innocent, but she was leaving the country with a one-way ticket to a country that doesn't have extradition. Totally sounds like an innocent person to me. Her son, Charlie Adelson, who, by the way, I'm going to just read it how they wrote it because I just like how they wrote it. A Ferrari-owning periodontist was convicted in orchestrating the murder involving a custody dispute with his sister, Wendy Adelson. The plot includes 3 accomplices, leading to the convictions of life sentences for one of them and the father of one of the people's children. The names aren't really relevant here. Another accomplice cooperated and received a 19-year sentence. Charlie claimed that he paid the assailant under duress, fearing an extortion scheme. So he hired the hitman, feeling he was going to be extorted for murder. I guess, I don't know. Sorry, I'll leave my snarky comments out of it. The murder was linked to a custody dispute, like I said, between Wendy and her husband. And Donna allegedly sought to coerce Markle into allowing the relocation of Wendy and the children, offering $1 million. And basically, they're blaming the hitman for orchestrating the extortion and murder, which motivated Charlie's refusal. So it's all very, very suspicious. And to me, a lot of it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Authorities are alleging that Donna, the mom, participated in planning the killing and had the means to finance it, which if you're offering somebody $1 million to relocate somebody else, I would say that you do. Donna supposedly delivered a bag of cash to her son the day after her former son-in-law's murder. Then the hitman was put on the dental practice payroll in September, with Donna signing her checks. Anyways, they denied involvement in planning or paying for the killing, asserting the cash concerning that the cash all came from Charlie, the periodontist. And law enforcement conducted an undercover sting attempting to determine involvement and discovered that the mom, Donna, received a $5,000 blackmail offer related to the murder, which further implicated her. And then they continue to claim, the lawyers claiming that the situation was consistent with somebody who believed her son was being extorted. Donna and her husband then had tickets to Vietnam for 2 to 3 months, planning to return to the U.S. afterward, allegedly, according to the lawyer, although, again, one-way tickets were booked. Donna's arrest came amid concerns about potential charges after her son's conviction, and recorded calls suggest consideration of countries without extradition treaties, raising suspicions about her flight intentions. Donna's lawyer is downplaying the recorded call, suggesting that she wasn't aware of being recorded, that she wasn't being recorded. The lawyer denied any illegal activities and maintained that Donna was innocent, and that was proven by her actions. So, I mean, look, what I heard here was that here's a mom who's got way too much money, encouraged her other one son to hire a hitman for her ex-son-in-law. That's what I heard. So, she's talking to Charlie on the jail phone. He hung up, and she didn't, and began talking to her husband about leaving the country. Yeah, implication stuff. Thank you, Janelle. Baby Blues, I'm going to come back to that toward the end of this. We are going to have at the end of this a Kansas City update, by the way. So any questions on the murder for hire? That one's very confusing without all the players, but, I felt that it was necessary to share. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We're going to be coming to that in a second. Was it the wife that hired out there? To me, the way it's reading is that it was the son, the periodontist, and the mother, Donna, are the ones that were the ones that at least have been convicted of it. First-degree murder, solicitation, and conspiracy, at least for the other son, in the killing of his former brother-in-law, Daniel. It's a very confusing story. We'll have to unpack that maybe a little bit more on a separate live, maybe that talks about just it. Well, let's talk about Colorado. So a little while ago, I did a video about Colorado, as I said earlier in this stream, that there's a security guard walking around with a hand in his pocket, a severed human hand. And then I saw this today, and I was like, oh, is it the same story? And no, it's a completely different human head and hands discovered, this time at a newly sold Colorado home. So again, don't know what the hell's going on in Colorado. This happened in the Grand Junction area, and human remains identified as a human head and hands were discovered at a recently sold home in Grand Junction. Basically, what happened was deputies from the Mesa County Sheriff's Office were called to the property on January 12th in response to a suspicious incident during cleaning. Initially considered a possible human remains discovery, authorities later confirmed the case as a homicide. And the Mesa County Sheriff's Office stated on January 15th that investigators believe it's an isolated incident with no ongoing threat to the community. So if you live in that area, you are apparently not in danger. There is video footage from the scene that shows investigators wearing hazmat-like suits during the examination. An autopsy conducted by the Mesa County Coroner's Office confirmed human remains found at the property were indeed a human head and human hands. The Sheriff's Office mentioned that further testing is required and additional information will be provided once these tests are complete. Again, this did just happen, so we can probably expect more information in the coming week or two. An autopsy conducted by the Mesa County Coroner's Office confirmed that the human remains found at the property were a head and hands. And so I remember reading my same notes. Just having a moment, guys. A neighbor reported the previous resident moved out in the morning, and the new owners arrived later for cleaning. The new owners posted online about selling leftover items, including a deep freeze. Visitors picked up the freezer and claimed that a head fell out when they opened it. Imagine coming over, picking up a freezer, and a human head. Well, I would be traumatized for life. I don't know about y'all. According to Mesa County Sheriff's Office, this investigation is classified as a top priority. Authorities have appealed to the public for any information related to this case. In the goal, ID the victim, while respecting the victim and his family, while they also search for a suspect. So again, this is an ongoing investigation. But what the fuck is going on in Colorado? This is two Colorado stories tonight, and then, like I said, there was another one. So. Now, why are y'all popping all this stuff up here? All right, let's talk about this one. If y'all have been in my lives over the last couple of days, you might have seen me talk about this story. My understanding is they have not, Janelle, ID'd the victim as of yet. Sorry, I didn't realize that this was still up here. No, my understanding is they have not ID'd the victims as of yet. At least this was as of today. They had not. So unless it's happened since then, I don't believe so. So for this one is so fucked up. Okay. A man by the name of Elliot Benny in Oklahoma ended up being taken into custody for abandoning his injured daughter at the scene of a car accident that resulted in the girl's death. Shelby Benny. Shelby Benny was 16 years old, right? And she was ejected from the car that night. And this dude, with his wife and other kids in the car, just left. Just left her there. So Elliot is being charged with homicide in connection with his daughter's death. And this accident occurred on January 12th when Shelby was ejected from the vehicle because she was not wearing a seatbelt. Always wear your seatbelt, and later pronounced dead at the hospital. Elliot's wife and 2 elementary school-aged children were also taken to the hospital after the crash. The accident happened in Bixby, Oklahoma, where Elliot's car overturned after losing control while driving and passing another vehicle in a no-passing zone. Elliot then left the scene on foot immediately after the crash and obtained a second vehicle from a family-owned business so that he could escape. All right? So he left everything, went and got another car, left his kid to die. Okay? He was tracked down. The other thing I should say before I go on this next part, he admitted to having some vodka. They also found pill bottles with labels torn off in the car. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But when he was tracked down, he was almost 50 miles away. Body cam footage shows the police with Benny in a gray pickup truck, the one that he went and got. A bottle of liquor, vodka, was found at the crash scene. And like I said, he admitted to taking a drink from the bottle while he was driving. And he also mentioned that he and his wife had an argument right before the crash. Now, here's the thing. This isn't a one-time situation for Elliot Benny. No, it's not even his second or his third. This is his 4th indictment, with previous charges including driving under the influence and leaving the scene of an accident. He has 4 times had serious accidents and left the scene. 4 times. Earlier charges were dismissed as part of a plea deal, and then he was charged with leaving the scene of an accident in 2 other separate incidences, one in 2010, one in 2016, but those charges were dismissed for unclear reasons. The family members' current condition has not been provided, so we don't know how they're doing, but we know they are still alive. They let Elliot Benny out on bail. Charges him are pending as the Tulsa County District Attorney reviews police reports. And there's an outpouring of community support for the 16-year-old, remembering Shelby as a wonderful and joyous person, a hardworking athlete. She was a cheerleader, and the community expressing grief over her incredibly tragic and unnecessary death. Now, with Benny's legal history and the circumstances of this accident, it has raised concerns and garnered a lot of community attention. So maybe he will finally get charged for something that he's done. So, having it 3 times and you're out. That's a great question. She had a competitive show, was full of talent. Yeah, she's a 16-year-old girl. She was barely she hadn't even technically started her life yet. So, it's a very tragic story. This needs to be put out there for awareness as well. This will be one that gets its own video on TikTok, a shorter one, because one, the importance of drinking and driving, that's always a conversation. It's important to have. Wearing your seatbelt is important to have. And I'm not blaming, Shelby for not wearing the seatbelt. That's not what caused her death. I mean, she was ejected from the car because of it, but her father should have been drinking and driving, especially. I mean, not at all, but especially, Jesus Christ, with your family in the car. What the, I just have no words. This is the story to follow, guys. This is the story to follow. I did a I did a video on this earlier today. An infant was allegedly killed by a Donaldson, Georgia pageant queen. Okay. Girl by the name, you can see her in her little picture there, right here. Trinity Madison Pogue. She's the reigning Miss Donaldsonville. She was arrested by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation on the 19th, a few days ago. She's charged with felony murder, aggravated battery, and first-degree cruelty to children. So here's what happened. 18-year-old Trinity here was dating a man by the name of Jay. And they were at the dorm room. Apparently, they would break in, or not break in, he would sneak in, I guess, with the kids to hang out with his girlfriend. And the dad left for 30, 40 minutes, I think to go get food or something. I forget exactly what, but it's irrelevant. And left, what he thought was his son in good hands. And he did have full custody of his son, 18-month-old little boy named Jackson. And while he was gone, she texted him basically saying it was between her and the kid. And when he got back, the 18-month-old was severely injured. After taking him to the hospital, he basically succumbed from his injuries. And when they were talking to police, her story was inconsistent, that she fell off, that the baby fell off the bed, and that's how he got his injuries. And just the police, law enforcement just weren't really buying it. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, apparent blunt force trauma. So, as I said, Trinity was dating the father. The GBI opened up an investigation after the death of the little boy and conducted several interviews, which ended up leading to Trinity's arrest. The father's not involved. This happened, by the way, also at Georgia Southwestern University in Americus, Georgia. And I think that that's important to note because my understanding on this is that they have done as much as they can to try to keep this under wraps, to try to keep this murder under wraps. The other thing that's also important to mention in this, and I hate that it's important to mention, but I think that it is that you can see obviously Trinity's race. The boyfriend, is in the son, were black. And so I'm bringing this up on purpose because I've seen other creators talk about this, and I've seen the comments that have come from this because how could they believe that the father was not involved and that she was? There's a lot of disbelief in that. And I believe personally, and I'll say this is the same as the other creator I saw it with, is that I believe it stems from what I believe is blatant racism. Video surveillance shows that the dad was not there. There's also text apparently saying that, she was trying to make him choose between her and his son, which, look, if you're a parent, you're a good parent at least, then 100% of the time you're going to choose your kid. But this is the story to follow because she is facing life in jail. No, the beauty queen was not the mom. She was not the mom. But this is an incredibly sad story. How somebody can brutally hurt an 18-month-old is beyond me. This girl is 18 and her life is over. As it well should be. As it well should be. The text says it all. She wanted focus. And she was young, full, frontal lobes not fully developed at that age. So, it's just a very sad state of affairs. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about, so that's pretty much it on the stories, and we can answer any questions, have a little bit of a chat. But the next thing I want to talk about is Bryan Kohberger. Okay? Bryan Kohberger has his first hearing coming up that we're going to see streamed. I will be streaming it. I have set up, this is going to be on the 26th, January 26th, at 1 p.m. local time. That's 1 p.m. Idaho time, Moscow, Idaho time, which is Pacific time. Thank you. And I'm going to pin this up here for anybody who's watching this. Okay. Thank you for that. We will be live streaming it on TikTok. I have created an event if anybody wants to register for it. I will not be streaming it here on YouTube because YouTube frowns upon doing that. So we won't be doing it here, but we will be doing it there. However, what's also something I'd like to note is that the day before this happens, on the 25th, myself and another creator are going to be doing this long-awaited, long-asked-for narcissism-focused live where you can bring your questions. We can do Q&A, have discussions, bring your situation. If y'all have been following me, as you know, I cover narcissism or talk about narcissism from the perspective of being a child who grew up in a very toxic household, the things that my own mother has done to me, and the things that my father, my father's not a malignant narcissist, he's just a very selfish one, have done, and talk about that. I will be doing this with another creator on TikTok who goes under the handle Janelle Marie, or I think it's Janelle Marie. I forget what her exact username is, but regardless, she is the daughter-in-law of somebody like this, and so she will be bringing her perspective. So our goal is on this live is to have everything covered. Now that live already exists. You can go on and set a request to be notified from it. It's going to be at, I believe, 7:45. I think I have it set for 8 p.m. on the 25th Central Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific. So if y'all want to notify that, y'all can do that. Just want to make you guys aware of that. Because I am excited about the Bryan Kohberger hearing. I will say that it will be the first time there's a discussion on trial dates. Now, do I think we will end up personally? Do I think that will we end up with a trial date by the end of that hearing? No, but I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. So maybe we will. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, that's all we have for tonight. We're going to call this segment, I think, This Just In, because I think I like that. And definitely drop, if you're watching this now, drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching it later, drop your thoughts in the comments. Anything you like for the format or changes. Any questions that you have if you're watching this later, I can come back and answer them. So please drop those as well. But I appreciate you guys listening and supporting, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss when I go live on here. So, are they going to let cameras in during the Kohberger trial? No. That's a great question, V. The answer is no, they are not. However, the judge has said that he will basically grant the streaming of it from the court's own platform. So there will not be cameras in the sense of like media, but there will be cameras in the sense of the court system actually providing the cameras. So that's what we're going to be able to do it. What is the hearing for? One is a trial date, and the other is for a dismissal of, I think, the grand jury. The grand jury part might not be open to the public or streamed, but the hearing part definitely will be. That's a good question. And what other questions do you guys have regarding this? So we won't be able to watch the live trial. Nope, that's not the case. You'll be able to stream it from the court's documents. So, thank you, Ashley. You'll be not documents. You'll be able to stream it from the court. So, as long as I'm able to, depending on where it is, if it's being streamed by the courtroom, we will have it up on YouTube. We'll stream it because that's what it'll go through. It'll go through YouTube, basically. So you will be able to watch it, V. Okay, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed. See, it's a little bit different format than what we do on TikTok. TikTok's just a bunch of rolling questions, so it becomes hard to kind of have this and for me to keep thoughts straight. This will get better as we iron out some of it. We started this last week, did a couple episodes of it, and this is, I think, the third one. And then I was off for a week because of the snow and the kid being home, so I'm glad y'all like that. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming Jennifer Crumbley tomorrow. I think it depends on what I have going on, but maybe. I got to go do shopping for Alyssa's birthday tomorrow, so we'll see if I'm able to. But we'll definitely be talking about Jennifer Crumbley tomorrow, because that case I find very interesting. It's going to set a very interesting precedence, in my opinion. So, no, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate y'all jumping over here, willing to support. If you haven't hit that subscribe button on YouTube, please do. I am on the road to 10,000. I'm at like 6,000 and change, so definitely would appreciate the support there. And I'm going to give it a few minutes, run to the restroom and stuff, and I'll hop back on TikTok, and I'll see you guys over there.